And we're on.
I think we're on.
You and Peter, or should I call you Pierre?
It's up to you. Whatever you like. Hi everyone.
I prefer Pierre, man, because it's your real name and it also sounds cooler.
That's true. That's
How
true.
have you been, man? How's your lockdown been?
So my lockdown actually started in India about a month after I met you. I was coming back from Sri Lanka, and I was in Chennai, then in Kolkata, and then I was feeling the heat. You know, people are looking at foreigners, and they're like, "Oh, we don't like you so much right now." And then I took a train to Varanasi, and my plan was I was with an Australian friend that I met there, and my plan was to stay in Varanasi for a little bit, and then take a train to the Himachal mountains.
Oh wow!
In order to be safe for lockdown. But then there was that, I think it was a Friday night when the president said, well, okay, everything is
like that.
Nothing now.
Yeah. That's his style. Overnight, boom. Surprise.
Yeah, exactly. So I was in Varanasi, and I don't know how much I told you about it, but it was quite interesting, exciting, a little bit scary as well. I was in a guest house called Muna, which in Varanasi is, well, it's apparently very famous for foreigners because there's a long waiting list because everybody wants a bed there because it's really cool and it's like falling down, and there's lots of musicians. And on my first morning in Varanasi, I took the train, got there, and I ran into a friend of mine from ages ago, and he was leaving the room, so he gave me the room, and I was like, oh great, amazing. And then like a day later, I was like, this room is mine until the end of lockdown, basically, because we're stuck here.
Yeah.
And you know, it was crazy to be in Varanasi for that, because it seems to be one of the most intense cities of India.
Oh man, definitely. Yeah. It's an assault on your senses, man. It takes a while to get used to it.
Yeah.
And some people never get used to it. I got used to it in a way. I was there during Holi time. I was backpacking through Madhya Pradesh in a train and all that, and I ended up in Varanasi, and I was shocked. I'm from India, man. I landed. I'm like, what's going on out here? You know, because I was living by the Ghats area. But there is a certain serenity that kicks in once the sun sets and the crowd disperses. And if you were to walk by the Ghats, then there is some sort of serenity, but you kind of have to find it for some reason. It doesn't find you, I think.
Yeah, no, it does not find you. But the frustrating thing is that, you know, we couldn't go out at all. We were
sure.
stuck in that. And so it was like being in the craziest city of India, but actually there was very few people on the Ghats. We saw dogs, we saw police. And so it was like, I don't know, it was a very strange time to be there. And after lockdown, the only time that I actually got to walk around was at 5 in the morning with a paper from my embassy that said that I was allowed to leave to go all the way to the bus station where the embassy buses picked us up to take us to get
Tell
us
me about
out
that experience. How did you get out of there? Because I remember speaking to you. I remember speaking to you when you were planning to go to the mountains, and I was trying to give you an itinerary of where to go and where to stay. And then you were pretty excited about it, and you were going to do it, and you went to Varanasi. And then I remember that's when I spoke to you because the lockdown kicked in, and I asked you, hey man, are you okay? Are you stuck? What's up? You know, you got a place in my house if you want a room. And you were like, oh yeah, I'm here. But then I don't remember how you got out of there. Or how did that work out? Like, how did you eventually leave?
How did it work out? Well, so basically, I was lucky in a way because the French embassy and the German embassy were really good with their citizens, which is it's weird as well because, you know, it depends on what country you're from, and I don't like that. But the fact is that the French embassy pretty quickly got in touch with me and was like, hey, you're all right, like, what do you want to do? And I'd been in lockdown for, I think, 2 weeks at that point, and I was having a really good time with all the people that were there, but it was like, are we ever going to get out of this? And also, are we going to run out of food because we couldn't go out to buy food? Like everything.
I was going to ask you that.
We can. I can tell you about it in a little bit. But basically, the embassy was like, okay, we got a flight from New Delhi. We have one in. Well, originally they said tomorrow. It's tomorrow. The bus leaves tomorrow, 6 a.m.
Wow.
Do you want to leave? And I was like, shit, I don't know. Like, I'll call you back. And then I think about it. I talk to people about it. Most people in the guest house didn't leave. really hardcore people. It was my first time in India, so I was like, all right, maybe I'll go and I'll come back. And so a few people decided to leave, and eventually it was 3 days later. So it was really, really hard to go. It was like the hardest decision I made in India.
Yeah.
But so we had that little note from the embassy, and when
Yeah.
we left the guest house, Muna's wife unlocked the gate, and the understanding was that once we crossed the gate, we couldn't come back in. Like that was it. And that was always it. Like, we left for good. And so the rules with the embassy as well is that if we had over, I think 100 Celsius in temperature, we couldn't board the bus, so we couldn't get into the plane. So there was a series of checkpoints at which we were tested. And I really wonder what would have happened if someone had been tested, over the temperature limit. Okay, you stay here, like in a country that's not your own, in a country that right now it doesn't really need you or want you, and like the bus leaves and you stay here. But fortunately, everybody left. We spent a day and a half in like a horrible chain hotel in New Delhi, but very grateful for the embassies and stuff. But like, it wasn't how I wanted to do Delhi. And then we took a flight, and just before the flight, there was a group of Buddhist musicians from Nepal and Germany who sang a few kirtans and other songs. So it was an amazing send-off.
That's awesome, man. Yeah,
everything
cool.
was in really good news.
No, but so when you were in the guest house, there were a lot of people there, and were you paying rent or what?
Yeah, there we must have been about 15, 20 people. It must have been about 200 a day for the room.
Oh, that's it? That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's really, really cheap. It wasn't the most expensive at all, but like, like it was an amazing place. It was pretty dirty, I guess, before the police came and made them clean up. Like there was dog vomit on the steps and trash everywhere. Yeah. Like
that's Varanasi for you. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but that's Varanasi for you. That's basically it.
No, yeah, exactly. That's kind of what you expect. I didn't want to be like in a clean place or whatever, and I was just like, I can just sidestep the dog vomit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're paying about 200 rupees for that's about €3 or like $4 USD or something like that a day. Yeah, some people were paying more. I was actually sharing my room with the Australian friend, but we have two adjoining rooms like that, and we opened the door between them, so we had a sleeping room with a fan, because that was the only room with a fan, and we did that because it was April, and we had a sort of meditation yoga room for like smoking.
April in Varanasi can be extreme, brother. It can be extreme.
Yeah,
so the fan is a luxury. It's little pleasures of life that you count.
You need it.
But I can see you totally thrive in that sort of an atmosphere, being the person that you are, stuck in a hippie guest house in a sacred place like Varanasi with a bunch of musicians. That's the kind of place you thrive in, don't you?
I had a good time. I really want to go back to Varanasi, actually. I wanted to take music lessons there. I didn't really get to. What was really cool, though, is that there was a guy from, I think, America who was a sitar player.
Wow.
And for the longest time, I didn't see him because he never came out of his room, really. He was just always playing sitar. And when I arrived in that guest house, it was like really messy, but it was just right on the Ghats. So we had 3 balconies, I think, and each of them like overlooked.
That's beautiful, man. The Ghats are stunning. I gotta say that. You say what you want about Varanasi, but those Ghats are incredible. And if you could go to those Ghats with absolutely nobody there, that is a really, really cool experience. I got to do that once. It was late in the night, unfortunately. Even then, it's really beautiful. But I can imagine in the day, it must be even better.
Yeah. So I mean, we could just see them. We couldn't go there, but he was playing. The first time I arrived, he was playing the sitar. He was playing one of my favorite rag, and I was just looking at the Ganga in Varanasi, and that was a really strange, like a moment I think about a lot. And lots of crazy people, like a 45-year-old German who who does a lot of meditation, a lot of tantric stuff, a lot of singing. There was another photographer, a few musicians. So very, very diverse community. It was cool.
That sounds incredible, man. I wish I was there.